Hi, I'm Debbie with Unforgettable Stamping, and today I'm going to share with you this quick and easy card that I put on my blog last week. I had some problems getting it videotaped, so I'm a little late, but you'll be able to find a link to my blog post on the details of this video. And if you'd like to get the dimensions and a project sheet, make sure that you're a subscriber to my newsletter. And if you're seeing this much later, just send me an email and I'll be happy to send that directly to you. But all newsletter subscribers do get my project sheet with each week's weekly quick and easy card. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, so I started once again with my favorite product. This is the note card and envelope set. Again, you get a set of 20. You get pre-scored cards that are sized at 3.5 by 5 when they're folded up, and then these envelopes. And they do go through the mail. It's not any extra postage, so that just makes it really wonderful. Now the cards are pre-scored when you get them, so you want to make sure that the valley side is facing up, and then you're just going to fold your card like that, and that way you're going to get the nicest fold. It's a clean fold, and especially if you use your bone folder to make that a nice edge. Now I'm going to round the corners using the corner rounder from the Project Lifeline that Stampin' Up! Has partnered with Becky Higgins here in the catalog. It's a great line. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check that out. And I'm just going to, it does go through both layers. So I'm just going to stick the corners of my note card right in there and punch just like that. I'm going to repeat the steps on all 4 sides so that I get a card that looks like this. So then when you open it up, all the edges are rounded. I really like the way that looks. Now next we're going to go ahead and add the ink to the card front piece, and I'm going to use these are called decorative masks. They're these great stencils that Stampin' Up! Is carrying, and this is actually a 2-part set. This is called Dots and Stripes, and you get the big, polka dots as well as stripes. And I have found the easiest way to apply the ink to the cardstock using these masks is by using my Stampin' sponges. But a little tip that I'm going to share with you to get this piece of paper to stick but not have it permanently stuck down is to use this Tombow. Now, if you use the Tombow and you glue it when it's wet, it is a permanent ink. But if you let it dry, it becomes really tacky. So I just like to add a little bit in the middle here and then run my fingers over it to kind of remove most of that strong adhesive. And then I'm just going to use my grid paper and line this up. Okay, and I just want to kind of stick that down. Now I'm going to take my decorative mask and I'm going to line it up so that, let's go this way. Each of the circles will line up in the center there. Okay, so once I get that down, I'm just going to use some painter's tape that I've got here, and I'm going to glue this down to my grid paper, and that's going to hold that in place for me while I'm sponging through it. I was playing around with some color combinations, and I decided that what I liked the best was using a combination of Pistachio Pudding, Coastal Cabana, and Bermuda Bay to get that ombre effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my lightest color, and I have these sponges. They come in a big circle. You get 3 of them for $3.50, so it's really a great price. And I cut them into little wedges, and I think depending on how you cut it, you can get between 6 and 8 per round sponge, and of course you get 3 in a pack, so you can already tell that that's a great deal. And then I just took a piece of cardstock that I'd punched with one of my punches and just wrote the color on it and stapled it. And so now I've got a nice little handle, and it also lets me know what color that I'm using with. So starting with the pistachio, one other thing I want to do first is I want to mask off the colors that I'm not using. So I figured out using 2 and then this 1 with the 3 and then this 2. So that's going to be my pattern. So I'm going to have this 2 this one, and this one. So I want to cover up the circles that I don't want my ink to go through, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. Okay. And so I just want to do these 2 rows here. Okay. So I'm just going to sponge, and you want to just lightly sponge in a circular motion. You can always add more ink, you can't take it away. So I always firmly believe in starting light and adding more as you go. As you can see, these Post-it marks are keeping it from going through to the other circles. Okay. Now, I'm going to move on to my next color. So that's the pistachio pudding. I'm going to put that one away. And I'm going to move on to my Coastal Cabana, which is my next darkest color. Now this one I'm going to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm actually going to go, I'm going to cover these up. And cover that up like that. Okay, so now we see the next row I'm going to be doing. And again, I'm going to start light, because you can always add more. Okay, now I want this color, this row and this row to kind of blend together. So I'm just going to lightly rub on the bottom half of this row of pistachio. And that's going to bring the 2 colors together. Do you see how I'm doing that? So it's you don't want to add too much, but just enough to kind of bring those 2 together. Okay. And then the last step was we're going to do this with the Bermuda Bay on the bottom row. Same idea. We're going to add really lightly to begin with. And you can always go back. And again, I'm just going to go just up into that bottom row here of the Coastal Cabana to bring those rows together. Now the great thing about using the Stampin' Up! Ink is this is a water-based dye ink, so you can just take this mask when you're done. And using the painter's tape is great because it holds it down while you're working on it, but then it comes right off. If you're going to be doing multiples of these, I would suggest leaving the painter's tape on your stencil, but you can just take this, run it under the sink, the water will get that ink right off for you. Okay, so as you can see, this is the effect that I got for that ombre, and you can see where the colors kind of get darker as they go down the page. I'm going to use my corner rounder again to round each of those corners. So I want to go again, push it all the way in. And last one. Okay. Now let me find my card base here. And I can put my Post-it note right here. Okay, now I've taken a piece of the pistachio pudding, thick baker's twine, and I've cut it long enough. I'm actually going to wrap it around my cardstock twice. But again, I'm going to tape it in the back. I'm just going to wrap it twice. And tape it behind again. And just like I always like to do with my ribbon, I'm going to then tie a knot with this on the front. So taking the baker's twine, I'm going to take the end, slide it under, and tie it in a knot. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so I'm just going to take my scissors, trim the ends carefully, and so far, most of this card is done. Pretty quick, right? Okay, now the last thing I'm going to do is take this hello, and this is a sentiment from the Label Something stamp set. They all work with different punches, so the to and from is with the petite curly label punch. We've got this one that you can put a sentiment in that works with the modern label punch. This is the 7/8 scallop circle, the hexagon punch. This is the artisan label, and this one that we're using today is the hello. It works with the Ticket Duo builder punch, and I'm going to add ink to it with my markers and my pistachio pudding ink pad. So I wanted the edge, most of it, to be pistachio pudding, and because I'm going to make the hello darker with my Bermuda Bay marker, it was easier just to ink the whole thing. So first I'm just going to take my marker and using the edge, I'm just going to apply color right there. Okay, and stamp it. Okay, and then I'm going to take my ticket punch, and I only want this larger punch here, so I'm just going to feed it in, line it up, and punch. Now, one other thing I wanted to do, since I don't have a punch behind it, is I want the edge to be a little darker, so I'm going to take the edge of my Bermuda Bay marker, and I'm going to run it along just like that. Do you see how it's kind of making that white look like it has a mat behind it, but really it's just ink? You can do this same effect with an ink pad, but because of these little corners here, it's really hard to get it in there with an ink pad. So marker works great. Okay. Now let's put the card together. I'm just putting it all together now with my dimensionals. So I'm going to take this piece and add my 2 to the back of that. And then I'm going to find my card base, and I'm just going to put them in the corners. Whenever I have ribbon that's behind, especially a dimensional ribbon like this one, I like to pop it up with dimensionals on the card. Just makes it look a little neater that way. Okay, and then the last step is to just line this up. And there you go. All done. Now this would be great in a lot of different color combinations. It would probably be really pretty with real red and pumpkin pie and daffodil delight. I've done that a lot with my sunsets when I sponge, and I think it'd be really pretty with a card like this. I've also, when playing around with this, this is what I originally came up with, the Bermuda Bay, the Coastal Cabana, and the pistachio pudding, but then my sister recommended Pool Party, the Lost Lagoon, and the Island Indigo. I think this is more of a masculine color theme, and I might try it maybe with the stripes and doing a masculine card. But anyway, I hope you give this technique a try. The decorative dots and stripes masks, it's $2.50. It's really a great deal, and you get a lot of bang for your buck with this product. So give it a try and visit my blog for even more ideas. It's unforgettablestamping.typepad.com, and I thank you for your time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.